Hello. And switch. Hopefully this looks fine. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. Hello. I think this should be good. Yeah, we're live. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so today, I think we'll kind of do like an alternation with these Thursday, Tuba Thursday streams. Where 1 week it'll be more free improv like we did last week. With the John Sass baseline book, which we'll probably continue with that again, because that book is really fun. And then we'll do some more educational streams like today. We'll be looking at, or we'll be playing from the first book of Practical Studies for Tuba by Robert W. Getchell. It's a pretty good starting book. It has, I think, 40 exercises. Let's see. 60. It has 60 different exercises that do, you can't really see that, it's really, that do get to 16th type notes, which is pretty cool. And then it has some technical exercises at the end for B flat, E flat, F, A flat, D flat, and C. And it also just lists the major scales and the scale in thirds pattern da 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 for each of those scales that I just listed. And it has chromatic patterns starting chromatic exercises that are just and different rhythmic patterns. So the first one is like da 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 and so on and so forth. And then the last two measures are da 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 da. Yeah. And then each one is slightly different. And then it has just a bunch of random exercises that start from being very simple in terms of range. Like this first exercise, the highest note in it is a B flat. That's the second line of the staff, of the bass staff, and the lowest note is a D. Yeah, it's a D, second space below the staff. So this might not be like the first thing you look at if you're starting to learn tuba. But if you've at least gotten a firm grasp of, I would say the B flat octave, B flat 3 lines or 3 spaces below the staff, to the B flat, that's the second line of the bass staff. If you have a firm grasp of all those notes, and you're looking for some exercises, I think this is good for that. It starts very simply. The first 4 the first 9 exercises are all just half notes, some whole notes, quarter notes, maybe, and number 8 has a dotted half note, and 9. But it's very simple. I think my only like complaint about this is that I feel like some of these exercises are a little bit long. So like I said, this isn't exactly a like beginner, but if you've gone through, if you started in 6th grade, this is probably good for 7th grade or maybe late 6th grade. Yeah, because endurance-wise, it's like, here's the first. That's not going to come through very clearly, is it? Let's see. Please come through. No. Okay, I'll play the first exercise. I'm going to take it a little bit faster than what you should take if this is your first time looking at this. Just to kind of focus on getting good tones and moving through it. Yeah. So I'll probably skip around a lot. Because if I just went straight through and played the 60 exercises, I mean, I guess if I did like one a minute, we could do it. But I know there's going to be some of these that I'll probably have to take a second glance at. Maybe, maybe not, but oh, and one other really small gripe is that towards the end they do like cuz the first handful of exercises, probably the first half of the book, oh, up to like number 21. They don't have like tempo markings at all, which is fine. But then when they do introduce tempo markings, instead of putting quarter note equals blah, they just have like moderato, leggero. I probably mispronounced that, but it's okay. Cantabile, moderato. There was pompously. Like, sure, these are great words, and you will see these as you progress further. But at the same time, I feel like this is a good opportunity for them, since this is a more first book of practical studies. It's a good opportunity to put, hey, these are andante means about like maybe like 80 to 100 ish, and they could even go further and say go 90. um, yeah, because it's like I know I like cantabile is a word that I know I've had to help a student define a couple of times, because it's not a word that we use. Or in the English language at least, it's not a word that we use. It's sorry, it's an Italian word, much like a lot of these terminologies. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's an Italian word that just means in a singing style. So you can take that as you will, or we can just look. Or wait, oh, dang it! I misplaced it. I had a dictionary, a musical term dictionary, but we can just use Google works just as well. Cantabile, meaning in a smooth singing style. Yeah. Mean in Spanish? Oh, is cantabile no? Let me look at Google Translate real quick. Yeah, Italian. It's an Italian word. Might be a Spanish word somewhere too. I don't know. But at least when you put it into Google Translate, it auto detects it as Italian, and it translates directly to singable, which is not really what I knew. Didn't know that was a specific one, but I guess sing style is about the same, right? Yeah. Where is it? There it is. But anyways, we're just gonna get to it. I'm just gonna play these. If you're someone who's actually working from these, um, and you want to hear a specific one, please let me know. And most of these are pretty simple. We're not gonna, especially towards the beginning, we're not gonna see anything too weird. There's no additional accidentals until the third exercise, where it has some E naturals. But yeah, here we go. Yeah, that should be good. All right. Here we go. Number 1 from the first book of Practical Studies for Tuba by Getchell. Cool. Yeah. So it's not like super lengthy, but it's definitely not like really short. um, which I mean, not to say that you should be playing shorter things all the time, but especially as this is a first book of practical studies for tuba or just practical studies for any instrument. Um, it's a lot easier to take in smaller chunks as opposed to large exercises like that. It's like what is this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. It's about 30 measures, which isn't too much, but at the same time for someone who's just learning, it's a lot to go through. Um, and especially, and another just small gripe about it is that, well, I think this is, I mean, this is a really small gripe, but it's just they don't really have any sort of breath marks, which normally I don't really care about personally because I usually just make up my own. But once again, since this is a beginner type book, at least in the beginning, I would expect a little bit more of that because like that's a lot. It's like where are you supposed to breathe? Do you breathe on every single half note? Do you breathe like once every single line? I don't know. There's a lot of ifs there. Of course, for me, as someone who's been playing for a lot longer, I can kind of hear where cadential points where you're supposed to breathe, like da 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 da. Like that's one complete phrase, pretty much. And I would say like you might have heard me breathe in like the third measure there after that E flat half note. That could be an okay place to breathe. But of course, if you can make it through all four of those measures, that's cool too. But of course, some places where it's probably not as great to breathe, any of these bar lines, especially. Not to say that, because if you're in band, you probably heard this a lot, like don't breathe on bar lines, which is true. But the thing that most band directors are trying to get at with that is to make sure that you're not adding a beat or two in between whole notes, or in between measures. So instead of thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, thinking more 1, 2, 3, 4, thinking more in time with it, because it is. I think it's acceptable to breathe around bar lines, breathe before a bar line. You just have to time it correctly. And of course, another thing to think about with that is be careful that it's not like a leading tone, like an A to a B, like da 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 da. not the greatest place to breathe in between those last two notes that I held out there, um, because the kind of expectation is that the A is leading towards the B flat. So if we breathe in between there, kind of adds a little bit of weirdness. Not super weird, but it's like if you're thinking about like think about any sort of like song. Like I'm just gonna use one that's kind of, I mean, I've played it a bunch, heard it a bunch. The Star Spangled Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? That's kind of the standard for the first phrase. Versus if I did something like, oh, say, can you see? It's a little bit weirder there. And also with singing in particular, if we're breathing in a wrong place, we might be breathing in the middle of a word. Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but think about like church type hymns where they're like, oh. Usually that's kind of supposed to be one phrase, kind of. I kind of sped through it, but it's like, oh. Kind of sounds a little bit more weird, even though I know if I was singing in a choir and I had to sing that part, I probably couldn't make it all the way through. But that's part of why being in a choir group is great, because people around you can kind of mask your breath if you breathe where someone else isn't breathing. But anyways, yeah, that's just another gripe. Long story short, just they don't have breath marks marked very at all. Maybe towards the end when they start, because I noticed like towards the end they add more and more markings. But yeah, no, it doesn't even look like. So yeah, just be careful with your breath marks. Yeah. But the biggest thing to think about with breathing is half notes and whole notes, and rests in general, of course, are some of the best places to breathe. And if you breathe in the middle or at the end of a half note or whole note, just make sure you're counting in time. One, like the beginning, da 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 da. That's probably an okay place to breathe, honestly, if you really need to. But then if we look at the second line, da 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 da, that's probably a good place too. But anyways, let's keep moving. I'm just gonna do like one per every two pages maybe. I might do even less than that, but that's about the cycle we're gonna do. This next one, let's do number 8. Okay, one more gripe before we play again. We don't see a different key until number 17, which I don't know. There's so many different keys out there, and it's not like you. I don't know how to phrase this in a way, but it's. All I have to say is be comfortable with be natural. Because these first, these first 9, actually probably for a while, honestly. Yeah, actually there might not be any C. Well, I don't know. Yeah, just learn your C major scale. That's all I have to say. Be comfortable with be natural. It's just as important as B flat, even though B flat is slightly easier to play on our instruments, on our B flat instruments. B natural is just as important as B flat. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But anyways, here's number 6. Number 6. Sorry, give me one sec. empty. Yeah, sorry. Brass. I really enjoyed playing brass instruments, but the unfortunate thing about brass instruments is that it does have, or wind instruments, I should say, that they do have a byproduct because of the science of our bodies. When we breathe out, one of the products that we breathe out, of course, is carbon dioxide, but then one other one that comes out is water vapor, which kind of collects on the walls of inside of all these pipes, and then eventually it all condenses. It condenses and then it precipitates or drips down, and that's what causes like the little fluttering type sounds. Yeah. Yeah, it's not the greatest, but it happens. I mean, I think every instrument has something like this. Because if you really think about it, for like pianos and strings, I mean, there's gonna be like little skin flakes. Might not be able to see them, but I can guarantee you they're there. Yeah, it just happens that ours is a little bit more audible. But anyways, here's number 6. Cool. Yeah, and that was number 6. Yeah, I would say the only thing about this one, because I think there was like 1 or 2 breaths that I did that I didn't feel completely satisfied with. Like if you have the book in front of you, the end of the second line into the first measure of the third line, I think I breathed right. I think I breathed right after the A there, but I think it's probably slightly better to breathe after the B flat, the first B flat half note on the second line. But yeah, I don't know. Next. All right, so now we're gonna get in some eighth notes, eighth notes and slurs. Yeah, and let's do number 11. And we do have some sharps here. We have there's a C sharp and a F sharp. Yeah. So we have a little modulation to D. Perhaps. Let's give it a try. Number 11. trip me up a little bit. Big thing to look at with number 11 there is to be careful of the repeated notes. There's a lot of da 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 versus something like da 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 where it goes up, which I accidentally did on the first. I think it's the third measure the first time we see this kind of thing. So just be, as you're playing this, be aware of those repeated notes. Da 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 instead of something like ta 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 ta. So just be careful of that. And of course, as always with eighth notes or just anything when time related, just be mindful of the tempo and always think about the subdivision in your head. Da 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 da. Something you want to do is just play it exactly like that, just like this. Just so you're kind of getting even, thinking about that even sound with the eighth notes, so the eighth notes are equivalent time-wise to the quarter notes. And then after you've done that a couple times, really ingrained in your head, just try to go back to playing it as written, and just kind of think about that in your head. Yeah, and so on and so forth. But yeah, all right. Next page, we're gonna look at we got new keys and a new time signature. We have 3 flats and also 3/4, which is E flat and the key E flat and 3/4 time. So just be aware of the 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, da 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 da. So we'll do number 17. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and something you might want to think about doing with this one, because the big thing about 3/4 that you'll see commonly, especially thinking about like waltz type style, is that it's thought of in 1 instead of 3. So instead of 1, 2, 3, it's thought of as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, dun 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 da da dun dun da da dun dun da da da. So something to challenge yourself with this one is to think about it in that kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, dun 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 da da dun dun da da dun dun da da dun 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 dun. I'll play it again, just kind of a little bit faster. And also, you can also think about this with all the previous exercises, even though they're written in like common time 4/4. You can easily just think about it as cut time instead of like dun 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 dun. You can think dun 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 dun, kind of doubling the tempo there. Just some things to think about. And of course, if you're just beginning, you might want to wait a little bit, or at least take it a little bit slower before you just jump right into the deep end there, or jump right into the driver's seat of that really fast tempo. But here's number 17 again, this time thinking more in like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, fast 3. Ah, sorry. Yeah, a little bit rocky, but overall pretty good. Yeah, just the biggest thing with if you're thinking about it in three like that, or in, I guess I should say in one like that, just kind of keep that subdivision going through your head. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and dun da da da. Dun, da, da, dun, dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, da. And here especially it makes breathing a little bit harder, so you have to be especially mindful of where you breathe, because if you take too big a breath, too long of a breath, or yeah, too long of a breath, not too big of a breath, then you might add in an extra beat. Dun 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 da da dun dun da da dun dun da 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 dun dun dun. Right? We kind of lost a little bit of time there. So just kind of keep your breaths in time. Think more really small but deep breaths. Da 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 dun da da dun dun da da dun dun da da dun 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 da da dun dun da da dun dun da da dun. Yeah. Yeah, I would recommend with this one, take it slow and get used to like kind of breathing on the and there at a slower tempo. Da 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 ti ti da da da. So that when you go to the faster tempo, you're not as surprised, or I don't know another word to say. But anyways, next page, we actually have some um time markings. 21 and 22. 21 has andante. 22 says allegro. Which this one would probably be more closer to what I was just thinking about with the three. Dun da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 da. Actually, I think I might play 22. Because it does this one also, because we've also seen, I forgot which is the first one that shows dynamics, any sort of dynamic change, but this is the first one that we see that actually has more than one dynamic in the whole like exercise. And this one is also kind of long. Maybe, well, it's probably similar to like the first exercise and stuff, but it just looks long because it's I don't know, because it's got a lot of eighth notes, and they just because of the spacing and stuff to make it all readable, they probably had to space it out a lot more. So that's why it looks like it's a lot. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of music, each with about 5. Yeah, about 5. So it's 30 measures. Yeah, it's about the same as the first exercise, but it still looks longer. But here's number 22. Yeah. I'll try to go a little faster. Read that rhythm completely wrong. Let me try that again. I'm just going to start from the top one more time. Dun 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 dun. kind of weird. Let me try that again, the last phrase. Yeah. Okay. That's starting to get a little tricky. Still not overly complicated, but just in terms of the tempo, the way the eighth notes are set, kind of occasionally for me at least, tempo feels a little wonky in places. So just be very careful with playing this. Just one. Da 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 dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, just really keep that subdivision in mind. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and yeah, and feel free to take this at a faster tempo, kind of like we were doing with the last one, where we were going like 1 2 3. I'm not going to try it that fast right now because I know I will mess up a lot of notes, and the biggest thing I'm trying to present for y'all who are watching, or looking this up for reference of what this sounds like. Even though most of these are pretty straightforward, I figured I might as well record or stream some of these for anyone who needs them. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm not going to go for the fast. I'm focusing on playing clear notes. Yeah, so let's try it again. I'm going to try the whole way through. Okay, one last time. Number 22, I guess I should say. Sorry for that. Yeah, pretty good. All right, next. All right, even more rhythmic ideas. Let's try number. Yeah, so let's talk about that. A couple ideas on this page. We have no new key. Key of 1 flat, which is F, which I think is kind of not. There hasn't been like a marking for it, but definitely there's been an implied F in some parts for some of the exercises that we've already passed with the E naturals. But the E naturals and the B flat exercises, I should say. But with these, we have more stuff like 23. We won't play this one. We'll skip this one. But it has a lot like actual written crescendos and decrescendos. Maybe we'll play 2 from these pages. Yeah, let's try 22 because it gets a little bit more complicated here. We have andante. Well, we have 2 words at the top, andante and legato, which andante, like I said, tempo I would say a good tempo for this is like somewhere around 80 to 100 ish, give or take. Because the biggest thing that andante means, it's a walking pace, um, which could be kind of like something kind of like that. I don't know if that came through clearly, but it could be a slower thing. Because think about all the ways you might walk. You might be in a power walk, trying to get to your class on time, or get to work on time, or etc. etc. Or it might be just average. You're just just casually strolling down the road or whatever. Or maybe it's just like a really drudge, like some really sad, unfortunate news just dropped on you, and you just kind of don't really know what to do with yourself, so you're just kind of going with hopes of getting somewhere, and just kind of like, so andante can be a range of things, from what I just did to something that's like more of a power walk. You're trying to really get somewhere, or you're doing some exercise. Um, yeah, so it could be anything. I think we'll go for somewhere in the middle. Da 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 dee dee da da dee da 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 da. Da 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 dee dee da da dee da 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 da. Something like that. Let's try it. That one's kind of nice. And then, of course, I think we've seen this C before. Yeah, we had in the previous measure, but we also have we going up to the C, second space of the staff. But yeah, let's do one more from these two pages. Oh yeah, sorry, I don't know if I said that was number 23. But yeah, let's do 27. Yeah, and this one you need to be very careful of. I mean, not very, but you just need to take heed of some of the accidentals. I see the second line, last measure. We have a chromatic passage. Da 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 da. Almost fully chromatic. We have a skip. We go from not a skip, but it goes from A to B natural. If it was fully chromatic, it would go from A to B flat, of course. So we have a tiny skip there, but other than that, we have a fully chromatic in those first 4 notes, or 5 notes, I guess I should say. And leggero, I've got to remind myself of what this means. I kind of don't remember. Music definition. Lightly, gracefully. So this isn't really as much. Okay, so it does have BPM. According to GetSongBPM.com, What is this from? Wait. Wait, there's a song called, hold on. This doesn't really matter for this, but uh I don't know what the song is. Okay. Um so there is something that says there is a tempo for it, but I think it's more referring to a song called Ligiero by an artist named Tu Rococo Rot, which we're not going to listen to it. Yeah, if you want to find out what that song is, feel free. I don't. Yeah, but it just basically means light. Oh, here we go. Here's something from BBC, um, BBC Music Magazine that says kind of in relation. It's used in relation to swift passages. Um, so think about playing this with a light, graceful touch, but kind of in a slightly faster way, maybe. So maybe something. Dun, 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 dun. So just think really light and a little bit swifter, maybe. Here's number 26. Or, yeah, 26. I'll try it one more time. Make sure I'm playing E flats, and that goes for you too. Make sure you're playing E flats and A naturals. Okay, 26. Cool. Yeah. Just think really light. And also, just another small thing, be careful with some of these intervals. This one actually had, I mean, there might have been some other ones that I haven't played that have had this interval, but I know right there in that fourth line, in between the first and second letter, we have a octave skip. So just be really exact with that interval there. And be really careful with the accidentals in this. We have C sharps, and yeah. But that was number 26. Moving on. All right, now we've got some tempo changes as well. Number 29 has some retardandos, and then 33, 34 have some. Actually, 31 through 34 all have some sort of roadmap. I don't know what kind of repeated sections. There we go. That's the 31 just has a DC al fine, which just means da capo. Goes back to the head. Goes back to the beginning, and then you stop at the fine. So the first time you'll just go da ti da ti da ti da ti da ti da 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 da. Let's play this one actually. 31. Yeah, 31. Here we go. On the marcato, just think more try to emphasize the articulations a little bit more. Marcato just basically means marked or accented, kind of. So just think ta 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 ti ta ti ta ti ta 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 ta. Really clear articulations. I've got to actually, and this goes for you too. Make sure you're checking your key signatures. I just missed play another E flat. This is key of F. Cool. Yeah, I could probably be just a little bit more articulate with each of those notes, but I think overall that's about what you're looking for. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and typically, I think you can take a break, or you can take a small rest if you need to, right at the fine the first time you go through it. But also a lot of times with stuff like that, typically you just keep going straight through. And same goes with the DC al fine at the end. You should think about it more as the first measure is directly after that measure, without a break. And for the purposes of this exercise, for this book, if you want to take a break there, you're more than welcome to. Yeah, because these are all studies after all. These probably aren't going to be exercises that you want to play for a concert or something. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so these are mostly studies, so if you want to take breaks there, please feel free to do so. But otherwise, just try to keep going if you can, because that's how it will be when you're playing with a band or group, with any of these repeat type things, unless the director tells you otherwise. Typically with DCs, DSs, any of these things, it's you go straight through, and then when you get the repeat, you just go right back. But anyways, let's look at number 33 on the next page, which is labeled as grandioso, which just means grand. That one's pretty obvious. Think grand, large, big, really big sound. I'll try to do that here too. And it has the same thing here, DC al fine, so just make sure you're following that, okay? Here we go. Number 33. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a mental brain fart, or just a brain fart, I guess. Yeah, but like this one, um, honestly, I stopped. Like if you have this in front of you, you're watching, I'm like, oh my god, he actually did. He stopped for the Fine and the DCL Fine both times. Oh my god. Uh, I mean, I think this one especially, I was feeling it a little bit, but like once again, I said these are studies. If I was playing something with a group like this with a group, um, we'd probably go straight through. Although honestly, just playing through that kind of gives me more an impression of this is like a do 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 do. Like there should be a fermata there, but I don't know. I don't know. Music is very conjecture based. What I might think, you might not think. But anyways, yeah. Let's keep going. We'll do 2 more pages. I'm actually going to skip a page. Or not 2 more pages, 2 more exercises. Okay, let's do some 16ths. Let's do this one. This is number 42. The answer to life, the universe, and everything. Yeah, 42. We also have a different key here than what we were previously doing. We have the key of A flat major. Oh my god. 4 flats. Wow. But anyways, here's 42. And of course, Marcia just means march-like, essentially. So just think really strict time. Ton, 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 ton. And of course, with this, I would not recommend skipping around like this. If you're beginning tuba, work your way up to it. 40 seems like a very much better study in 16ths than this one. Honestly, this one feels a little bit more. I don't know. I guess these are fine 16ths, but these are kind of tricky. So just make sure. I would recommend, especially for some of these ones that are including 16th notes, maybe do a time where you're just playing on one note. Ta 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 ta. Yeah, I'll just play that. Just the first line, and I'm just gonna play it on the first note, A flat. Yeah, so once you feel really comfortable about the time and the rhythm, then we can start to add in the notes. Maybe go a bit slower than that. Yeah, and just isolate, really break this down. I mean, if I was looking at this further, I'd probably break it down a little bit and try to get it a bit faster. Because typically with Marcia, march style, the typical tempo you want to think about is like 120. Dun. I'm really sorry. Let me drink some water. Yeah, Tuba Thursday. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by, Jonathan. Hope you're doing well. I'm just choking on little particles and my own air. But anyways, as I was saying, Marcia march style, to me at least, typically it denotes march tempo, which is about 120. I mean, we can look it up. I can look it up online just to double check the meaning of it, but I'm 90% certain it just means march style. But I mean, for the purpose of this, don't feel like you have to go super fast at first. Break it down. Marcia music definition. Marcia, here we go. March. Yeah, it literally just means march. So from that, I would personally just get the goal is 120. But of course, if you don't feel comfortable with playing it that fast, don't play it that fast. I know my tempo is nowhere near that. Dun, 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 dun. It's about closer. Yeah, no worries. No worries about being late. But I will say we are about done. I'm going to do one more exercise after this one, and then that'll be it for the stream today. But yeah, so with Marcia, dun 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 dun. Somewhere like there should be the goal-ish. Like I said, take it slow. Isolate measures, like maybe just do the first measure to the downbeat of the second measure. Maybe even just do like da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum, starting that A flat in that first measure. So, yeah, just break it down before you're ready, and then build your tempo slowly up to 120. So, I'm going to attempt to, actually, I'm going to put a metronome on. Just so we can hear this together. I'm not going to play with it on, but... One, two, almost had it. Messed up a little bit there at the end there, but I think you got the idea of the tempo wise at least. And hopefully my first time was a lot better. I will correct myself on one thing, because I made the same mistake both times. But the second to last line, last measure, E, C, D, E natural, still E natural. So make sure you play E natural there, because I play an E flat there. I'm just going to play those last two lines one more time. Yeah, and I know I think I missed an A flat somewhere else. But anyways, last two lines, and then we'll move on to one more, and that'll be it for today. Yeah, better. And I think that A flat was literally there in that second to last measure of the second to last line. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, but oh well. Um, yeah, just be meticulous to your parts. Even though my reference recordings are probably pretty decent, um, if you're learning it, still be mindful that you're playing the right notes and you're not exactly copying me, because like there, I could have missed some notes other than what I just noticed. So just be really mindful that you're playing very accurately. And yeah, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Okay, last one. Let's finish with let's do 49. Andante religioso, which just means walking pace, kind of religiously. So this one especially I would say is slower, but it's up to you completely. And this one also has a lot of time changes, time changes, and dynamic changes. So be very careful of those. Here we go. Here's my attempt at 49. Cool. Yeah, this one's especially tricky. Keep the. I mean, the biggest thing with the retardandos is that even though, yes, we are slowing down, we need to slow down in time. Um, so instead of thinking about retardandos as a stop sign, think about it as kind of like the. I don't know if you're. I mean, you might not be someone who's driven a lot if you're playing through these. But it's like the rumble strips leading up to a stop sign that are kind of like trying to slow you down a little bit to get to there. So think about it less of a stop sign and more of just a gradual kind of like you're kind of walking along the street or something and you get stuck behind some slower people. People are not slower as in mentally slower, but they're walking slower. Um, And just kind of when you get around them, that's when you go faster. Go back to what you were doing before. So I'm going to give that one more attempt to see if I can correct some of those. Oh, and I especially mean be careful of the tempo. When we get to like the third line, dun da 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 dee da dun da 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 dun da 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 da. Dun 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 da dee da 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 dee. Yeah, Donkey Kong Rumble strips. Okay, sure. Um, but yeah, just be careful of the tempos there and subdivide. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one more attempt. Yeah, I felt like that was a little bit better. Still feel those the 16th, the 8th and 2/16 patterns are a little bit tricky in this, so be really careful with those. I would recommend when you first work on this, work on it a little bit more strict with the time, and then worry about the ritornandos later after you feel pretty comfortable with the 8th note and 2/16. Dun da da dun. Yeah, because especially times where they're mixed. Well, I guess there's only one time where there's or two. We have the last measure and then the first measure of the second to last line, where we have the 8th and 2/16 in a part where it's slowing down. So yeah, and I would just recommend that in general if you're working on anything that has ritornandos, just take time at first. Don't worry about it, and then later, kind of exaggerate it. Maybe just do a small thing and find what you want to do with it. Oh, and one last thing about this one, number 49. Be careful of the key signature. We have G flats. I know I missed a couple, both times I think. So be mindful of that. But other than that, that'll be it for today. If you would like me to play other ones, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope this has been helpful for you if you've been learning these, or if you're just looking for some tuba to listen to. I hope I filled your what you want to listen to. But anyways, have a good one, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.